Joining me now is Annie Cyrus. We have a lot of news on the desk tonight related to Islam in America, around the world, and Iran. Let's get to it. Annie, welcome back. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me, Brannon.
I first want to go to a video clip tonight. It's 6 minutes and 46 seconds, but I'm not going to play the whole 6 minutes and 46 seconds. I'm going to go about 3 minutes and 11 seconds in. This young lady, we've talked about her before. Tell our audience who she is, because, boy, she had a barn burner at the UN. She was speaking to a UN group. Tell us who she is before we play her video as to what she's saying about what's happening in Iran.
Sure. Her name is Masih Ali Nejad. She is an Iranian-American journalist. She became fairly popular during the White Wednesday, which was a few years before Mahsa Amini, when on every Wednesday, women in Iran would come out wearing white, since black is the only allowed color. She ended up on the IRGC target list. There was a plot of kidnapping, which failed, and then there was a plot to kill her. That one also failed. She was under FBI watch at safe houses for a while, and about 3 weeks before New Year, there was a conviction of 2 Russians hired and paid by IRGC in New York City. And last week, she also faced the other assassin in New York City again. And she does a great job when it comes to Iran and the oppression of especially Iranian women. And I always put this disclaimer, me and her, we disagree on 99% of things. But when it comes to Iran and our fellow Iranian women, we agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. I want you to listen to a little what she says and respond. Listen to this, guys. This is, again, to a UN group.
I want Geneva to hear the voice of Iranians. Right now, after killing 40,000 people, they storm into hospitals. They're finishing off the injured ones. They're arresting doctors and nurses. They put the political prisoners on the death row. They're executing them. I want to ask Geneva to host a peace conference. Invite the opposition from Iran, invite the leaders of Europe, invite the leaders from European country and free world here to talk about an Iran without Islamic Republic. I know my time is over, 3 minutes, but I'm going to show you something. The West waited too long. That doesn't call you Islamophobic if you treat ISIS the way that deserve to be. Yes. And the West waited too long. When I was fighting against compulsory hijab, they were like, oh, this is Islamophobic. Oh no, we have to respect others' culture. All the female politicians from West, they went to my country, they bowed the compulsory hijab from Sweden, Netherlands, Germany, France, from everywhere, high representative of Europe. They waited too long until Mahsa Amini got killed. Suddenly, they realized, oh, this is not their culture. They started to cut their hair to show their solidarity with us. Stop cutting your hair. Cut your ties with our killers. And second, they waited too long to designate Revolutionary Guards as a terrorist organization. After 7 years, after America did that, suddenly, 7 years later, they decided to designate Revolutionary Guards as a terrorist organization. Shame. 7 years, waited, and now 40,000 people have been killed. Now the time has come to understand. Don't wait that long. They call this reformist. That's why they keep the doors of diplomacy open when it comes to Rouhani. He killed 1,500 people. You call them reformist, we call them killer. Pezeshkian, he is not reformist. Under his regime, 40,000 people have been killed. When I see my sister standing here, my sister with bullets in their body, being blinded, standing here, I feel ashamed that I am alive. I don't carry the bullet. How come Europeans do not feel ashamed by calling these people reformists? They are ISIS. Kick them out from your country and stand with the victims, not dictators. I know I had only 3 minutes. I'm going to leave Geneva forever. You can kick me out forever, but I couldn't keep silent because I feel the guilt on my shoulder. I don't know how to save my people with empty hand. I cannot sometimes sleep. I cannot breathe. I cannot even eat because I feel guilty. I cannot believe how come the leaders of European countries do not feel guilty by shaking the hand of those Islamic Republic officials full of blood.
Full of blood. And of course, she's talking quickly in her accent, but she's referring to the woman that was murdered in Iran for taking off her hijab. And people thought,
Oh, she didn't even take off her hijab. Massa was showing a little bit of her beautiful hair was popping out of her hijab from the right side of her hijab. That was it.
And they beat her.
Yes, she was arrested. Well, she was traveling to Tehran as a visitor with her brother. When they got out of the train at the terminal, she was arrested right there. She was taken into the detention center. At few hours after being in the detention center, she was transferred to hospital in coma. 2 days later, she died. An official report said it was a blunt object that caused her brain to basically, cause of death was blunt trauma to the head. That's what she was referring to, yes.
And this is where the people say, oh, it's just their culture. And she said, and then they figured out, finally, this is not the culture of Iran. This is not the culture.
Yes. And I should, this speech was given at Geneva.
Switzerland.
Yes. The day after the second round of negotiations were happening in Geneva between Iran and U.S., which I have about 5 hours to talk about that. But anyhow, and she was there to accept, on behalf of Iranian people, to accept the reward of Human Rights for Freedom and Democracy Bravery Award of 2026. I completely understand her frustration because when she showed up, she was already fired up. Like, you had to wait to award Iranians basically after all of this. You kept shaking the hands, as she said. Well, she says full of blood. I said those hands that dip their bread into Iranian people's blood and eat it. But the frustration shared by all of us. Of course, she's there, so she talks about Europeans, but she had a show here in America. She went on CNN, and she said the same thing about us. She said the same thing about Canada, all the free world leaders, basically.
Would she ever let me interview her, you think?
I don't know. For two reasons, I don't know. As I said, she used to see her mainly on CNN. She's a very progressive liberal. Except, as I said, because of that mindset, she drew the line and went beyond borders and does the feminist movement for Iranian women as well. And secondly, as of right now, she's on the other side of majority of Iranian people. She's not, at least she has announced that Crown Prince Pahlavi doesn't have her vote. Not that he cares, I don't think. I shouldn't talk on his behalf. But point is, for those two reasons, I don't know if she would come on your show, considering you are a Christian conservative network that has been pretty supportive of voice of Iranian people, which means Crown Prince Pahlavi.
Right. Let me show a quick video here. Here's what happened to one gal for not wearing a hijab. Wow. Can you imagine when that finally comes to America? Can you imagine the left and the the lesbians and the woke and all the rest of them and the gays and how they're just going to be beside themselves? And all I'm going to be able to say is, well, we tried warning you for decades. You wouldn't listen to us.
I can imagine it, yes. And I can certainly imagine them not ever taking responsibility themselves for wanting so badly to belong and coexist and chant together. They will blame everyone, and for a long time they're going to be in denial. But yes, I'm with you, Brannon. At least for the last 10 days, I'm just at a point of, I think I started my show yesterday with I'm wearing my I told you so mask again because I told you. I said from day one, negotiation. You asked me on your show before the first round, you said, what do you think is going to happen? I said, they're going to meet again, do the second round and buy more time and on and on. And that's exactly what happened. We met them again in 1 week gap. And we concluded, by the way, I don't know if you've covered forgive me if I'm being repetitive for your audience, but we went from direct negotiations in Oman, not yesterday, but Monday before that, we met with Iran in Oman. In the room, we had Iranian representatives. Then we had Kushner, Witkoff, and the head of Sadkan, Hakam. The yesterday one became indirect. Witkoff and Kushner weren't in the room anymore. It was the foreign minister of Oman talking on behalf of America to the Iranian representatives in the room. So, and then we gave them 2 weeks. They have until March 3rd to come back with their rewritten proposal of the deal.
So this war is not going to start till at least sometime in March, probably, right?
You know my answer. This war is not going to start.
Oh,
not from our end.
So
But
they're moving all of these expensive assets into the region only to finally move them back out.
Not necessarily move them back out immediately, but yes.
Okay, so let me go another way. Is Israel going to start this, and then the U.S. is going to be there to back them up if needed?
That is the most likely scenario based on what I'm watching. Yes.
I mean, that would politically give some cover to President Trump. If Israel does what Israel needs to do for their own safety and protection, and then the U.S. is just there to back up and has to get involved, but Israel goes ahead and starts it. But of course, there are some who are saying that they would not be shocked if Iran did the first strike.
Iran's not going to do the first strike until after the third round of negotiations.
Okay, but after the third round or whenever, could you see Iran doing first strike?
Most certainly, yes. Yes, I can. And that's the reason I say until the next round is if Khamenei comes to realize his days are numbered, he's not going to go down without a fight.
So do you think this is going to happen one way or the other?
No, because if we keep bending, war won't happen. We just give them what they want in 2 weeks.
But Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to go for that, is he? He's already said on the tarmac the other day, you can't negotiate with these people. They're liars. This is what they do. You can't. This is all futile. He came on and said that.
Yeah, but Netanyahu also said from October of last year, he said, we're not going to be taking a seat at your peace board.
And now he is.
But last week he signed the agreement. So I don't like to use this word, but they're all a bunch of politicians. I trust Bibi way more than I trust Trump, but Bibi is still a politician. He can't go up against the entire region alone. And if America tells Bibi that you're on your own if you want to go in, then again, we should not compare anything coming up with the 12 Days War, because that was an absolute surprise. They had the upper hand.
Can you imagine the anti-Semitism that is going to really escalate even more should we get into a war over there, because either Israel strikes first or Iran strikes and then Israel moves and defends themselves. But either way, if we get tangled up in this, okay, and bodies start coming home, and there was a report out today, one guy was, Mr. Barnes was talking about you could have 10,000 American casualties, soldiers. If we started seeing flag-draped coffins coming home, one of my biggest concerns is not only the death of our soldiers, obviously, but the world, and particularly Americans, are going to blame the Jews. They're going to blame Israel. This could be used at a spiritual level to, again, create such massive anti-Semitism. And not only just massive anti-Semitism, how about the backlash against those of us that are clear-headed, common sense, biblically based Christian Zionists? And I give those parameters because some of the Zionists and the Christian Zionists, they're out to lunch, okay? They're false teachers, they're false prophets, they're false apostles. Many of them claim they're for Israel. If you really study their eschatology, they're not. They're into replacement theology. You wouldn't know it unless you study their theology, what they really believe. Some of them, they have this mentality that to be a Christian Zionist, you have to basically, agree to send your kids off to war to die. I'm a biblical Christian Zionists based on what the Bible describes, not all the extra rules some of them have written. And I was trying to explain to a friend of mine today who's a national figure, I said his name, you guys would know him. I said, you need to understand, just as there are crazies in the MAGA movement and crazies in every movement there are people that are crazy in the Zionist, Christian Zionist camp that have written rules and written descriptions of what a Zionist or a Christian Zionist is that doesn't match up with the Bible. And I was explaining what I am from the Bible. But can you imagine, I want you to comment on that, number one, but can you imagine the backlash if this turns into a massive Middle Eastern war and we have flag-draped coffins coming back? Don't you think this is going to create a big problem for Christians and Jews, Christian Zionists and the Jews, that Satan will use this even more as a pincher strategy coming from the left and the right to pinch us in the middle and bring persecution to us?
It most certainly will. However, I would say, number one, depending on where it ends, it may not. Let me elaborate. If we stay back, meaning we're just a backup, and we allow Israel to finish the regime, that means liberation of Iran. That means within 6 to 12 months, such a steady stability in the region that America will be benefiting from too much for Americans to be able to blame Israel. But if we go in, we end it, we turn it into an unfinished, another ceasefire Gaza scenario, then yes, absolutely. I will be one of them. Not blaming Israel. I will be one of the people who's going to come back out of why did we get involved in a business that wasn't ours, and when we made it ours, we did a incomplete job. Yes, go ahead.
You do know there are crazies in the MAGA movement, right?
I'm very certain of that.
And
yes.
there are crazies
Many.
in the so-called Christian camp, right? I mean, there's crazies in every group, right?
Everywhere.
Every group has extremists that go way beyond what was the original goal or definition or theology or eschatology or doctrine or mission statement of any group. This always happens. But,
well, I wouldn't even call them extremists or crazies. I would say there are obsessed people.
But would you agree when I was explaining to one of my friends today, a national figure, I was trying to explain to him, you are picking up on a definition of Zionism or Christian Zionism based on some of the people that are going way too far. Their litmus test for being a Zionist or Christian Zionist isn't even biblical, Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes, I have had that argument with a few people online myself. When they come at me like, you shouldn't say I'm a Christian Zionist. That is the radical, crazy, misunderstood. And I'm like, no, I am a Christian Zionist by words of Bible, though.
Yeah.
Not by definition of those out there who have become obsessed with their own vision.
Yes.
That's why I call it obsession. It's their obsession with their own understanding and their own vision. But again, unfortunately, a lot of people don't, I won't even get a chance, Brannon. A lot of them shut me down immediately. It's like, there is no difference. You all believe the same thing, but when we push you, you just hide behind some narrative. I was like, okay.
Yep. Well, that's what I was explaining to my friend. I'm like, don't judge me based on what these people are saying. That's not what the Bible teaches. That's not what I'm saying, I believe. And I think he was really happy to have that conversation. I want to transition to Texas, to Dallas. Congressman Chip Roy. What is he running for? We interviewed him last spring. Didn't I interview him last spring? What's he running for in Texas? Does anybody know? He ran for Attorney General? What's he running for? Attorney General? All right, listen to what he said. I guess this was in a debate last night or last day or so.
We introduced legislation in Congress to take away the tax status for care. I introduced legislation to pause all immigration until we've gotten our house in order to stop what is happening to this great country and this great state. To be very clear, when you talk to the experts, the Muslim Brotherhood has a specific plan to Islamify the state of Texas. You're seeing it unfold in Dallas-Fort Worth right now. There are no-go zones where women don't want to go here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There are people that are listening to prayer calls. We are having to deal with a massive change in our culture because we haven't recognized that there is a war being carried against us. If you're Attorney General, you have enormous power to follow the money. And as Attorney General, I will go after the 600 plus organizations that are advancing Sharia, undermining Western civilization, using the full power of the office of...
All right, good for him. If we had told people after 9/11 they'd be doing calls to prayer in Minneapolis over loudspeakers, people would say that would never happen, but it has. But they would certainly never believe that a state like Texas would be taken over by the Muslims. And yet here we are, 25 years this fall since 9/11, 2001, and Texas is falling to the Islamist. And I know there's a lot of tough talk at election time, but at the end of the day, I don't expect anything to change. I don't expect anything to really happen. It's all rhetoric. I'm not saying anything in a derogatory way against Chip Roy. I'm just saying at the end of the day, when it comes to the people that are there now, I don't know what Chip will do. I hope he'll do what he says he's going to do. But when it comes to the people that are there now, I think it's all a lot of political smoke for elections and fodder. I don't see anything really changing. I will be shocked. Not based on past patterns. I don't see anything changing. Texas will fall to the Islamists. If nothing changes, and I don't see it doing that happening, Texas will fall to the Islamists. True or false?
Definitely true. I would say this, when it comes to Mr. Roy, he does know what he's talking about. He has done a lot of talking and educating himself through experts, as he mentioned on that video. However, he won't be able to do what he wants to do for the fact that, I mean, just look at Ken Paxton. How quickly was he shut down when he started to investigate Epic City? He got orders from federal government to drop it. So the biggest problem is we do still have genuinely legit people who want to make that change, but they can't do it because the power, the infiltration inside our federal and state government by Islamists is bigger than those good guys out there who want to do the right thing. And that's what they're coming to realize. When he says care, he has come to realize, he has learned through many pages of research by experts that care has the point of just referring to care as unindicted co-conspirator of Holy Land Foundation. They're worse than that. That is nothing right now. So that's why he says the thing he said about care, and he genuinely wants to stop care. But as I said, you're right. It is not going to happen, not because we're being negative. It's just, pattern recognition. Again, you look at just last 12 months of how much Islam has infiltrated our government. That says it all.
I saw a video earlier today. I should have marked it, but it was a group of Muslims talking about how they are deliberately using the U.S. Constitution in America to further their agenda. They're using the Constitution to their advantage.
Yes, that's why I have a very, very 37-page long Substack on Constitution versus Sharia, One Must Fall. And I wrote it last year. Because the very way they're using our Constitution, there's an exact way for us to use our Constitution to stop them. But they seem to read our Constitution better than most Americans.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? All right, I want to go real quick to video footage. Well, here it is right here. This is footage coming out of a practice with Iran and Russia. They were all practicing near the Straits of Hormuz the other day. Look at this.
همزمان سامانه‌های موشک‌های کروز ضد ناوشکن روی اهداف در تنگه هرمز قفل راداری کردند. حالا هدف تعیین شده در تنگه هرمز همزمان از سراسر ایران، از دریا و ساحل و نقاط مرکزی مورد حمله موشک‌های با ارتقای سر جنگی این موشک‌ها شدت تخریب و آسیب به ناوشکن‌های دشمن بیشتر از قبل شده. همچنین با سامانه‌های هدایت جدید این موشک‌ها می‌توانند از هر سمت و جهتی به اهداف خود حمله کنند.
Wow. All right.
That was,
yeah.
if I could just quickly put an insert, because the naval exercise of Russia and Iran is happening tomorrow over the Sea of Oman. The video you just played was from IRGC's naval practice by itself.
Thank you for that correction. There's a big fire that went down in the last, 24 hours in Iran? Big fire? What's this about?
Yes. This is one of the besieged buildings or headquarters in Sabzavor. This was last night, our local time. By the way, I should be, besiege is basically the child of IRGC, also known as morality police.
So that is basically a military installation.
Yes.
And do you think that's Mossad doing that?
I do. I believe this is the fifth one in last 10 days, and I think all 5 of them were Mossad.
Yeah, and this is what we call gray terror or the gray advancement. This is what's often done by special forces before a nation goes to war. We've talked about gray terror in the U.S. hitting our infrastructure, hitting food processing plants, all the different things we've seen over the last few years that you're going, what is this? And of course, this is described as gray terror, going after key infrastructure before war actually happens. And of course, this is, again, I think she's right. This is probably Mossad, Israel doing this in anticipation, which leads me to believe that one way or the other, this thing is going to happen.
Well, I would say, again, because it's besieged, the way I look at it is more of, I'm not saying this is not going to happen. Well, I as I said, U.S. is not going to attack Iran. U.S. might end up getting involved for a ceasefire or stealing credit, but we're not going to make the move first. Now, that being said, the buildings, all of them were besieged. This is more of Israel helping Iranian people because, as I said, besiege, pretty much the people you saw on the streets, killing Iranians, arresting Iranians, dragging them into, their cars, that's besieged. This is more of Mossad helping Iranian people by eliminating the armed manpower on the streets of Iran.
Mm-hmm.
That's based on the locations they're hitting, and that I'm gonna stop. I guess my question for you, Brannon, is here's my understanding. Okay, we have all of this power around Iran right now. We have given them too much window to prepare and get ready. As we just said, Russia getting involved. I published a Substack today of how much of the blackout, the 10 days blackout we reported on, how much of it was with help of China happening. It wasn't even the regime. So you look at all of that problems. Number one, as it is, Republicans are concerned with midterm. Is Trump going to start a war a few months before midterm to guarantee lose of seats? I doubt it. Number two, he's getting all the signatures he likes on that peace board. Is it going to lose that momentum with a war with Iran? That's going to drag in. Iran is there, Houthis are there, Hezbollah's there, Hamas is there, Taliban's there. You know what I mean? It just makes no sense unless he just woke up and had an epiphany and he realized that he needs to deliver on all the tough talk. By policy and diplomacy and politics, attacking Iran right now would make zero sense for everything that he thinks he has
Unless,
achieved.
of course, he's being walked into a trap, and you got Lindsey Graham, and we've dealt with that tonight already. You got Lindsey Graham over there in Tel Aviv saying what he is. You got globalists. You got world puppet masters that all want Epstein off the front covers and stop talking about that. I mean, what if he's just being walked into a trap?
Well, as I played a clip of Alex Jones on my show, something I never thought would happen in my life, but he was a guest on Patrick Bet David, which I check on him regularly because he needs to be checked. But I played a video of Alex Jones himself saying, I choose a lot of different wordings. He said, to answer the question by Patrick Bet-David was, Alex, why, like, if you could give advice to Trump right now, what would that advice be? And Alex Jones basically says nothing. Because there was a time where if you gave facts to Trump, he would change his mind. But today, unless you are rubbing his ego, he won't even hear you. So there's not a single advice I can give him he would listen to, because what I have to say is not what he likes to hear. That being said, which I've been saying the same thing, I'm always like, it's not about bad advisors, it's about who he chooses to listen to. I don't think any of those traps are going to work. Again, this man has been chasing after Peace Prize and Peace President title, and he no matter who sets the trap, Trump is going to know the first bomb drop, all of his walking around with the crown he has given himself, FIFA might even come and take his Peace Prize away.
Gordon Chang has retweeted this. China assisting Iran with intel, surveillance, and real-time tracking through satellites to expose U.S. military buildups and positions into open-source targets for Iran military. China is effectively serving as Iran's advanced surveillance and reconnaissance partner, providing satellite imagery, navigation support, and possibly real-time intelligence, including access to the Beidou navigation system as an alternative to U.S.-controlled GPS amid heightened U.S.-Iran tensions. Unconfirmed claims point to real-time data showing on U.S. naval and air movements, this real-time data sharing, potentially leveling the playing field for Iran against superior U.S. forces. Gordon Chang has put that out today.
That was the Substack I just said that I put out today. The Chinese role in the blackout and then expanding it into how much surveillance. In my Substack, I've documented that the IRGC members have been trained by China since 2015 on operating these machines and systems. So yes, that's why I keep saying, if he goes in now, he being Trump, a month ago was a very different story. Today, he goes in, that's going to turn. All day, Iran International has been saying that their experts are saying the same thing. If he goes in, this is going to be a full-blown war in the region, and only God knows how far it's going to expand.
Oh, you got a new book out.
Something nobody wants.
Yep, you got a new book out. Tell our audience about it and where they can get it, please.
Sure. The Architecture of Jihad is set on pre-order of Kindle on Amazon. The pre-orders for signed copies will be available on March 5th through my website. So go to my website to submit your request to be added to the list. We have limited inventory for signed copies, only 150. Then the book itself will be released to public on March 21st through Amazon, both paperback and Kindle, The Architecture of Jihad.
There you go. liveuptofreedom.com to find it, liveuptofreedom.com, and then our Substack is liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Annie, are there many networks covering this as closely as we are? Because I know a lot of them are obsessed with the story of Nancy Guthrie. Are many networks covering this story? Because this is potentially life-altering for a lot of people, including Americans.
No. There are a lot of programming that are putting their own non-confirmed twist into what's coming, the clickbait programming. But I have not seen any network or any individual shows specifically, especially on Rumble, that has touched on anything we touched on tonight. Nothing. Nobody has touched on Masih Alinejad. Nobody has talked about the second round of negotiation. Nobody talked about the missile practice yesterday or the one coming up tomorrow. No. They are not doing that.
Well,
and right now, as you said, though I am with them on many aspects of the entanglement of Epstein files, but that seemed to be the bigger headline going around right now.
One final question. The Muslims, boy, they've really come out against the dogs. Islamic preacher in England, we will kill those dogs. I talked about that tonight in my Worldview Report. Boy, they really don't like the dogs. I know Usama's told me how much they don't like dogs, particularly black dogs. This story's getting some traction among at least the conservative circles.
Yes. Some of us covered this many years ago when we said Muhammad is the reason that dogs are considered filthy in Islam. You are not to have a dog in your home. You're not to have a dog in general. And my personal opinion is, we know how dogs are, especially you, Brannon. They sense good and they sense evil. And Muhammad was keeping all the dogs away from himself, so they wouldn't spot the evil there, right?
That's
But
right.
yes,
That's right.
in Iran, example of it that I have reported on again, in Islamic Republic of Iran, there are permits. You can become, it's hiring. You can become hired by the government to get a license and get a paycheck to go out and kill dogs. You hunt dogs, you kill them. And most people who do have dogs as pets, they struggle to keep it a secret, or otherwise the dog will be taken away, put down, and the owner will be they have to pay a fine and sometimes possibly face short-term prison time. But yes, that's the religion of peace.
Wow.
All love and equality. As Linda Sarsour said once, our prophet was the first women's rights activist. And then she came out later and said he was also the first animal rights activist.
Oh, brother.
So
Yeah.
these are all evidence.
Let me go to one last clip tonight before we let you go. Dr. Phil interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu. Listen to this and watch, please.
Do you think that October 7th gave people a sense of moral authority to express their anti-Semitism?
Well, because the internet has been flooded by fake propaganda describing Israel as the aggressor instead of the country that's been aggressed upon, saying that falsely accusing us of genocide when we have sacrificed our soldiers in taking out terrorist places that we could have just carpet bombed, and we didn't. We do everything in our power to keep civilians out of harm's way, and Hamas did everything in their power to keep them in harm's way. They shoot people. When we tell Palestinian civilians, please get out of this neighborhood because we're coming in, Hamas shoots them if they want to come out. But they're not only targeting us, and they not only chant death to America, death to Israel, death to America, they want to get rid of us in order to get rid of you. But they're also going after minorities, and specifically against Christians. Christians throughout the Middle East are being oppressed. They're being driven out. It's something that the only safe place for Christians, where the Christian community is growing and thriving, is in Israel. They've been kicked out of Turkey. They've been oppressed in Syria, in Lebanon, in the areas that we handed over to the Palestinians. Some 30 years ago, we were controlling Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. At that time, the overwhelming majority of the Arabs living in Bethlehem were Christian Arabs, over 80%. Now, after 30 years, they're down to 20% because they're oppressed, and so they leave. But that's not what's happening in Israel itself. In Israel itself, they're growing, they're thriving. They serve in the army. Christian Arabs serve in the army,
Yes.
Very brave soldiers, because they know that Israel is fighting not only our battle.
Wow. Comment on that?
Amen.
Closing comment?
I say 100%. He's right. That is very true. That's why I always say I understand some people's frustration and the America first, but Americans tend to not understand. If Israel is not there, we won't live the free life we do here. They are the first, they are fighting for all of us. As he said, I'm just going to repeat what he said. That's why I am all about supporting, not dropping our priorities, don't get me wrong, but supporting Israel is important because they are the last line of defense when it comes to freedom fight versus Islamization of the world, global caliphate, which is sad.
liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. As always, thank you, Annie.
Thank you so much, Brannon. Be safe.
You too, my friend. All right, guys, that's our broadcast for tonight. We appreciate what we're doing, all the news and information we're cranking out. You do, please go to worldviewfoundation.com and make a contribution of any size. We are looking for more regular monthly contributors. We've had a few donors that have had to send us letters saying, want you to know we have to stop giving. We want you to know why. It's not personal. We love what you guys do. We just have other financial commitments that we need to concentrate on, and cost of living and fixed income and retired. And we understand, totally get it. We have to make up for those people that we're losing. So please consider becoming a regular contributor now if you can. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com, and you'll find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. And don't forget, you can now register for our 23rd annual National Worldview Weekend. The only difference is this year we're making it free and we're moving it to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Waukesha Expo Center. You can go to worldviewtube.com/events and register. It is free, but you need to register so you have a seat. We were there last April, had a standing room only, filled it up. We anticipate doing that again, but this time it won't be just one night. It'll be Friday night and Saturday during the day. And we'll be bringing in about 8 or 9 speakers all together. Quite an event. And again, you can register for free, secure your seat at worldviewtube.com/events. Roll the music. Let's call it a night. By the way, keep ordering your free business cards. You can get a stack of free business cards. Pass them out to waiters, waitresses, people that you run into in the grocery store or wherever you might be. Getting your car fixed, the mechanic, whatever. Say, hey, would you guys like to watch a free network that'll help you understand what's happening in the world? They cover so many topics. Check it out. It's free, worldviewtube.com. So why not order a set of these right now at worldviewstore.com, worldviewstore.com. May God save America. Take care.